Samael, the poison of God. From the beginning of time, his presence stood beside the divine throne, holding a place among the 7 most powerful archangels of the heavenly army. He was the 7th, the defender of the heavens. To some, Samael is a just and necessary angel. To others, a soulless, ruthless, and feared being. But the truth is that Samael is not defined by good or evil. He is balance, an angel who fulfills his duty with unshakable resolve, whether it concerns a mere mortal or a sacred deity. They say this imposing being shook the very foundations of heaven. He was accused of selfishness, called dark, and branded the bringer of death. Because Samael did not hesitate, he did not falter. He was God's envoy, sent to end those who would not repent, the divine executioner whose task was to steal the final breath of life. But for Samael, that mission was not simple. Every judgment required awareness. Every soul was weighed by the gravity of its actions throughout existence. And in that judgment, there was no room for lies. It is said that, by direct order of the Creator, sinners were to be annihilated, and Samael, ever obedient to divine will, was the one who marked the final hour of the impious. His appearance was imposing, a cold, solemn being wielding a long, sharp sword. When unsheathed, its blade revealed a brilliant tip from which a single crystal drop of God's feared poison would fall. One of the most well-known stories about him claims that Samael was the supreme commander of the 5th heaven, where he ruled over more than 2 million angels, known as the Gregory. During the days of creation, like many celestial beings, Samael grew uneasy with a new decree from God. The Creator, after shaping the first man from dust, proclaimed that all, Samael included, were to bow before him. God announced to all the angelic orders that Adam, upon receiving knowledge, would become like one of them, and was to be revered as God himself. To Samael, those words were like daggers. He could not understand how a fragile creature, molded from clay, was to be given something even he, an eternal angel, did not possess. He saw himself as of a superior race, and to bow before a mortal felt like an abomination. God, seeing Samael's growing unrest and the influence he held over his legions, tried to distance him by giving him a mission to destroy the demon dwelling on Mars. But Samael, blinded by resentment, refused. He could no longer serve a God who, in his eyes, dishonored his own by glorifying such an inferior being. Before his angels, Samael spoke harsh words. "What God has done is not worthy. He has given power to a creature of dust. If this continues, that man will disobey every divine order. I will not worship him. While he is dust, I am eternal." And with a firm voice, he declared, "From this day forward, you will worship me." Samael's words, filled with jealousy and pride, reached the ears of Archangel Michael, who appeared before him with a warning. "You must obey the one who can destroy all of creation. Beware the wrath of God, for he knows no mercy." Samael laughed bitterly. With arrogance he replied, "I will seek a star high in the heavens, and I will make it my throne. I shall consecrate myself as a being equal to, or greater than, the Most High." Michael's fury was immediate. He cast Samael down from the heights of heaven, hurling him straight to earth. Samael had dared to compare himself to the Creator, and that could not be tolerated. Not long after, the celestial hosts descended to earth to fulfill God's command, to worship Adam as they would worship God himself. But Samael openly rebelled and cried out before the Creator, "I will never worship such an inferior being. We were created from the splendor of your glory. Who then is more worthy of veneration?" And defiantly he added, "Test him, and we shall prove to you that this creature of clay is unworthy of your glory." God, in a calm voice, replied, "Though you do not believe it, this being of dust will surpass you, for knowledge has been given to him." But Samael, blinded by pride, could not understand. His fury grew, and resentment toward God began to consume him. Then God told Samael that in order to test his wisdom alongside Adam, they both had to name the beasts created on earth. Whoever succeeded would be worthy of reverence, for their understanding would surpass the others. In Eden, Adam saw a radiant light approaching slowly. Behind it, an even brighter light illuminated the paradise. It was Samael and God. The trial was about to begin, and its purpose was to measure the wisdom of the one formed from clay against the proudest of angels. Adam, in humility, bowed before the divine presence of God and Samael, but the Creator said firmly, "Rise, Adam, do not bow to him, for he is not your creator." Then, before both of them, God announced the challenge. They were to name each of the animals, just as he had named them when creating the world. He ordered Samael to line up the beasts, and so the duel between the angel and the man began. When the animals were ready, God asked who would begin. Samael, with a proud voice, answered, "I will. I am older and therefore wiser." God accepted his request and said, "If you manage to name them all correctly, your wisdom will be revered. But if you fail and Adam succeeds, his wisdom shall be honored instead." The proud angel stepped forward. Before him stood a pair of oxen, and God asked, "What are they called?" Samael's confidence faded. His face changed, for he couldn't find the answer. And so it happened with each animal in the line. One after another, Samael stood silent in confusion. When he finished, God said, "Now it is Adam's turn, and you will see why he is like us." Inside Samael, a burning fury grew, but he clenched his fists and said nothing. God called Adam forward and said, "Open your lips and tell me the name of this creature." Without hesitation, Adam replied, "That is an ox." Samael was stunned. It was the very beast he had failed to name. Adam continued, naming each creature one by one. God nodded with each answer, confirming their truth. Samael, powerless, burned with rage. He realized God had granted Adam the true understanding of creation. Heartbroken, Samael began to weep. God looked at him and asked, "Do you cry?" Samael rose in anger and shouted, "You gave understanding to a creature formed from dust, and you expect me not to cry?" Then God looked at him with wrath and replied, "Wicked angel, you were created from my glory, and this is how you behave toward your God. Just as you are astonished by Adam's wisdom, know this: he will foresee the birth of his descendants and give a name to each of them until the end of time." In the heavens, God gathered the angels who had rebelled alongside Samael and cast them out from his kingdom, hurling them to earth. Desperate not to be exiled, Samael clung to the wings of the Archangel Michael, who was witnessing the divine judgment. But God, seeing his hands clutching those wings, removed him with a single finger and cast him down with even greater force, saying, "On earth you are condemned to suffer. You shall never return to heaven, nor even lift your gaze to it." As days passed, God continued his creation. With each sunrise, he granted Adam and his companion a new ray of wisdom. According to legend, when Adam was formed from clay, a woman was created alongside him. Her name was Lilith, the first woman. From the earth, Samael sought ways to defy the Creator and destroy what he had made. Day after day, he observed Adam and Lilith from a distance, and he noticed something strange about her. She showed no fear of God. That intrigued him deeply. Lilith, beautiful and fierce, also watched the dark angel from afar. One day, God descended into Eden and spoke to Lilith. He told her she must be faithful to Adam and obey his every command and desire. But Lilith found this offensive. She believed both she and Adam had been created from the same clay at the same time, and thus were equals. God did not like her words and said harshly, "Woman, you must understand that you are inferior to man." Those cruel words sparked a terrible rage within Lilith, a fury so intense that it marked the beginning of her rebellion. God then gave her two choices: submit to Adam or be cast out of Eden. Lilith cared little for the sacred garden and fled to the shores of the Red Sea, where she settled. God decided to create a new woman for Adam, for he complained of his loneliness. Taking a rib and some clay, he created Eve. From the shadows, Samael watched. With Lilith, he became husband and fathered thousands of demonic children, and together they opened the abyss, a realm as powerful as heaven itself. Seeing their proliferation, God decreed the death of 100 of their children each day, but still more were born. According to the myth, God castrated Samael to halt their reproduction. Lilith, upon witnessing this, abandoned him, though other accounts say they ruled the darkness together for thousands of years, seeking to overthrow God. Samael came to be known as the Prince of Angels and the leader of demons, with dominion over heavens, sciences, and planets. He sought to create a new world, to become a demiurge. According to the Hebrews, it was he who planted the tree of knowledge in Eden, hoping Adam would sin. Samael tempted Eve in the guise of a serpent. Others say he seduced her, and from that union Cain was born, though he was raised by Adam. In some versions, Samael opposed the creation of light, proposing instead the inclusion of darkness. When God saw his arrogance, he warned that he could destroy him with a single cry. Samael ignored the warning and created the abyss and the shadows. Enraged, God cast him and his angels into the abyss, sealing their lips for eternity. It is said that Samael is the angel of death, a dark figure clad in black robes, armed with a sword and a bow of burning arrows. After his fall, he was stripped of the title of Grigori and became Satan, the one who opposes God, the Prince of Darkness.